Hey everyone, it's Rich Dallas and welcome back to another episode of Q&A Sunday. Today we're going to tackle 3 more questions that we've been getting a lot lately. What is an escalation clause? How do I present the strongest offer? And the different statuses that are in the MLS, active, contingent, under agreement. What do those mean? And am I allowed to look at contingent homes? So let's jump right in. So post-COVID, the market has been on fire. If you've been watching my Monday market updates, you already know that. You know that the inventory of homes on the market is not as high as the demand. So what we're seeing is a lot of multiple offers on the same property. And an escalation clause, simply put, is an addendum to the agreement of sale that says the buyer is willing to pay, for example, $1,000 higher than the highest offer that's out there. So let's use some easy numbers. Let's say the house is listed for $250,000 and the buyer is willing to pay $260,000. Now a second offer comes in at $255,000. The buyer who had the escalation clause to $260,000 is now automatically kicked up to $256,000, making them the highest value dollar amount of all of both of those two offers in this example. It does not mean that they're guaranteed to get the house because there are a lot of other factors that go into whether or not a seller is going to choose option A, B, or C. We'll tackle that a little bit in the next question. So simply put, an escalation clause is a buyer's willing to pay X number of dollars higher than the highest offer. And you usually would put a cap in there. We never go without a cap because you don't want to just keep bidding to infinite numbers. That would be not good for your buyers, so you always want to protect that. If you're if you're not exactly sure if you should be using an escalation clause, everyone should know my number by now. It's 412-965-6387. Reach out to someone on the team, reach out to me, comment in below. Ask us if you think you should use one. If you're in a multiple offer situation, it's definitely in both the buyer and the seller's advantage to use an escalation clause. There are a lot of agents out there that don't understand how to explain it and therefore won't allow them to be presented. That is doing their sellers an injustice, 100% injustice. And if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me, 412-965-6387, and we can walk you through that. The next, how to present the strongest offer and what makes an offer stronger than another one. So it's not always about price. So for example, if I have a house, we'll use that same example of $250,000, and I get an offer. Let's say I get 3 offers. I get the one that came in at $255,000. I get another one that came in at $256,000, and then and both of those are contingent upon financing, and I get an offer of $253,000 with a cash buyer. There's a really good chance I'm willing to just take the less money and have that cash buyer, because that's one less contingency that we need to have. Other ways to make your offer stronger it's not all about the financing. It could be ask the other agent, what is the time frame in which the seller wants to close? The seller might want to close in 30 days. They might not want to close in 30 days. They might want 90 days. You need to know those types of things. So your agent should be calling the other agent and asking what's most important to your seller. That's going to put your buyer in the best position possible. That's what we always try to do on our team, is get as much information as we absolutely possibly can to make sure that our buyers have the best opportunity to win that offer. Other things that you can do, more hand money. A lot of times people just put $1,000 in hand money down. On a $100,000 house, that's fine. But if it's a $500,000 house, you need to be putting a more substantial amount of money down. And if you are in a multiple offer situation and you have the cash on hand, let's say you put $10,000 down. That is still your money. Yes, it might be tied up for 30 days while we go through the escrow and we close, but it's still your money. And at the end of the day, if you need to come to the table with $50,000, Now you only need to come with 40. So any way you look at it, it's still your money. So more hand money is a good way to do that. Waiving inspections, we don't necessarily think that that's a great idea, but if you're a handy person, if you've walked through the house and you're comfortable with what you saw, there's always that option to waive the inspections. That's definitely going to be appealing to some buyers and sellers. So really, those are the big ones that you can. I mean, there's a lot of other things. And again, reach out to somebody on the team and we'll walk you through the absolute best way to present your offer. I mean, another thing is write a personal letter to the seller, because, people do things emotionally and then they justify them logically. So if you can pull on the emotional strings of a seller as you're presenting your offer, it always helps, So those are just a couple of quick tips on how to present a really strong offer. We can definitely get more into detail if you have a one-on-one conversation with me or someone on the team. So definitely reach out to them. All right. So what we've been getting a lot lately is, can I see that house? It's contingent. What does that mean? And can I go see it? So there's multiple, different ways we can have listings in the MLS, but the four main ones, we'll get rid of the first two obvious ones. Active. That means that it's active on the market. You can go show it. There's no offers on the table. Go for it. Sold. Obviously, it's sold. It's not on the market anymore. Those are the two obvious ones. Now, the other two that confuse people are contingent and under contract. So those are the two other options in the MLS. So if a house is contingent, that does not necessarily mean that it's contingent upon somebody selling another property. Most likely, 99% of the time that when a house is in contingent status, it is only contingent upon the home inspection, mortgage, appraisal, the normal things that go through a transaction that happen on a time, every transaction, or 90% of transactions. If a house is contingent upon the sale of another home, it's normally left in active status. And we can get into that on another call of the ways to mark a house contingent. That'll be next Sunday, so stay tuned. But back to this question here. So can I show a contingent house? Absolutely, you can. But don't get your hopes up that deal is going to necessarily fall apart. But the seller does have the obligation to let other buyers look at that house. So if your agent says we cannot look at that house, it's contingent, that agent is not necessarily either doesn't know or just doesn't want to waste their time. And it is a bigger risk of your time wasted because the likelihood of the deal falling apart is pretty slim. Not necessarily, deals do fall apart, but if the other agent on the other side says the deal is solid, I probably wouldn't go see the contingent house, but you do have the right to go see that. Now, if the house goes from contingent to under agreement, now you're only waiting for the closing. All other contingencies have been lifted. There are no showings allowed, or not. You're not required to be showing the house or obligated to show the house while you are in contingent status. So under agreement is pretty much you're smooth sailing right to the closing, and I would write that one off. For the majority of offers that are contingent, I would also put those on the back burner and not get your hopes up that house is going to magically just pop back on the market. It may, but it also might not. So I hope that was helpful. Those were 3 questions that we've been getting a lot lately. As houses have been going under agreement or contingent so quickly, people have been wanting to see them. We have been getting a lot of how do I present the strongest offer, and that escalation clause, not enough people use it. And I think a lot of it is because a lot of people don't know how to use it properly. So if you have any other questions that you want to hear on a future episode, please reach out to me. My number is 412-965-6387. Email me at rich at Dallas-Fincham or comment below, reach out to us on social media. We'll figure out a way to get it in there for another future episode, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.